decent levels, Jim?
You want me to look at him?
Yeah, we want to look at, kind of halfway between. It'll be sort of like this. How's that?
All right.
Okay. So here we are at the Surf Ballroom, 60 years after that night in 1959, and you're the only person I met that was actually there. How did that come about for you? How did you get to the Surf Ballroom in 1959 for Buddy Holly?
My dad's cousin was the manager of the Surf. My parents just let me go to the Surf. I went to a lot of dances at the Surf. From the time I was 13, 14, on up till now.
At that time, were there older people and younger people? Obviously, at that age, you weren't able to drink, but did that go on here at that time?
Well, I was going to teen dances back then. That's what they had. They called them a teen dance.
Okay. Was the winter dance party primarily teens, or were there people of all ages here?
Primarily young group, college, high school, college.
Okay. Were you on your own, or did your parents come with, or were you with a group of friends?
Well, actually, I drove the car over here. I was on a farm. You could do anything you want. I shouldn't tell that, but that's about what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, describe the anticipation of the show, like of the kids your age around here. Was this a big deal? Buddy Holly, Big Bopper, and Richie Valens coming to town?
Okay, every teen dance that they had very good groups that came, and you would go. You knew what they were. You knew what their songs were. You heard them on the KRIB radio was a big one. All the youth listened to at that time. They played them songs and introduced the artist that was performing on them. And you would pick out those good ones, but you probably would go to all of them.
Sure. Do you remember what the price was?
Probably $1 or $2. Wasn't very much.
All right. Well, describe the show itself. You know, people tend to focus on Buddy Holly, but how was Richie Valens and Big Bopper?
They was all, at that time, they was young guys trying to get to the top, and they were good. Just like today, if you go to Nashville, there's 34 bars there on Broadway, and you can go to any one of them. There's a good group trying to get to the top in every doggone one of them, and that's how I would describe these guys. They was each one good in their own respect. They had their songs and writers that wrote them. Buddy Holly, a guy by the name of Sonny Curtis, wrote a lot of his songs,
right.
And I think he's still around. He's been here at the Surf a few times. So
sure.
I've been here to a lot of these winter dance parties.
I bet you have. Okay. So talk about when you heard about the plane crash, what was going on at that time?
Oh, Dad and I was milking the cows out in the farm there and had the barn radio on. We heard about the plane crash. My dad was a pilot. He said, let's hurry up and get the cows all milked, calves fed, and we'll go over there and check it out. We got in the car. We drove right out in the field there. Well, we drove down north of the airport and saw the couple cars out in the field. Dad said, that must be it. We drove right out in the field. There was a sheriff and 2-3 other cars. Plane was rolled up along a fence there, and the bodies were still laying there, out, kind of surrounding the plane a little bit. We looked it over. That plane was completely demolished. My son has a Beechcraft Bonanza exactly like it. He's been on several of the documentaries and so forth of the Winter Dance Party and of the lives of Richie Valens and Big Bopper and Buddy Holly. And anyway, excuse me, he has this plane, and he says that if you read the instruments, you can actually think you're going up, or it could be going down, and the instrument's still going to read the same way. They was in a blizzard. He read the instrument wrong. He was going down just as hard as he could go.
Sure.
Full throttle. And that's when the crash happened. That's all that happened. Nothing more, nothing less.
You said your father was a pilot. Did your father happen to know, I believe his name was Roger Peterson?
No.
Okay.
Roger was a young pilot.
Right.
He wasn't even instrument rated yet, which they have to be nowadays to land in big airports, to go in storms, so forth. However, he was a very experienced pilot. He just wasn't instrument rated, and he was a good pilot. I knew Dwyer, who had the aircraft facility here, and did the flights for people that needed to go someplace real quick. And he told me that he said that Roger Peterson was a terrific pilot. He said he was well qualified. Maybe not on instruments so much, but he said he knew how to run them, but he didn't have the qualification. But it was no pilot error. It was the plane, the instrument, and the Beechcraft Bonanza.
Sure.
There was a plane that was built in 1945. They started building them. The plane he was in was a 49. My son's is a 49. It still works perfect.
Huh.
Them old planes are. It was.
So your father was a pilot and your son is a pilot?
Yeah.
Are you a pilot as well?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Do I need a license?
No. Heck, you drove to town back then.
I'm just kidding you.
Right. Now go ahead and tell the story about the items that they found in the plane.
They found several items, as I understand it. I don't even know what all they were. However, they took the bodies to Mason City to a funeral home. They called my dad's cousin, Carol Anderson, to come over and identify the bodies.
Carol was the manager here at the surf, right?
He was my dad's cousin. Anyway, he went over. He said I gave Holly $600, and he rolled it up in a little roll and put it in the right front pocket. Well, they had Holly. And he said, Richardson, Big Bopper, he's a big guy. And Richie Valens is a 17-year-old young guy. He pilots the other one, so they had it all figured out, but they had an extra billfold. The extra billfold, the description on the license of the extra billfold, same hair color, the same eye color, the same height, weight as Richie Valens. However, it was a person's name that was 21 years old. I would guess that was used if when he wanted to go with the rest of the guys and have a drink at a bar while he had an ID.
Exactly. Kind of Paul Harvey's rest of the story there.
Yeah. That's kind of what that was.
Okay. Can you just talk about this? Will be my final question for you. What has that particular night? It was a tragedy, but in a way, it put Clear Lake on the map. And you've been a lifelong resident of this area. What did that night mean for Clear Lake and the Surf Ballroom?
You can see it here tonight, once a year, as well as when they get youth groups. All the youth in quite a surrounding area come. There's very few of these ballrooms left. Luckily, the Snyder family bought it when it was in kind of poor repair. They've brought it back to original, close to original, and everybody can enjoy it, and they made a museum out of it. So it's a non-profit group. And let me tell you, they're doing okay. They're doing well.
Very good.
And I'm just a volunteer here. My wife and I, we've been doing it for, 6-8 months, but we enjoy keeping this thing going. We'll do anything we can to help.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for being here tonight and spending the time with us. I really enjoyed it.
Nice to visit with you.
You as well.
All righty. Thank you.
Let me just take a picture with you.
Okay.